If you think legalization means less weed arrests, guess again. Weed arrests, say that 3 times fast. Cannabis legalization movement has freed more than the plant, but despite this, 1/3 of all drug arrests in 2022 were for weed, according to recent FBI cannabis arrest data. Expungements of cannabis crimes and the release of prisoners have followed legalization in some states, but many remain incarcerated while the industry grows. In fact, the Federal Bureau of Investigation updated its Crime Data Explorer with the latest arrest information this week. This update revealed that in 2022, police made 227,108 cannabis related arrests, 92% for possession only. Nonprofit advocacy group Normal sent a press release to Green State about the recently released data. Quote, it remains clear that marijuana seizures and prosecutions remain a primary driver of drug war enforcement in the United States, end quote, Normal Deputy Director Paul Armentano said in the release. Quote, hundreds of thousands of Americans continue to be arrested annually for these violations, even though a majority of voters no longer believe that the responsible use of marijuana by adults should be a crime, end quote. Now, cannabis arrests have bumped up, but the data could be unreliable. The yearly drug arrest number has grown since the previous update. In 2021, the FBI reported 219,489 cannabis arrests, but there are some limitations to this data collection. Many law enforcement agencies, for example, fail to report their data to the FBI. Last year, only 63% of agencies reported arrests. This year, the number is up with 83% reporting, and this responding percentage covers about 75% of the US population. Therefore, the arrest growth seen between 2021 and 2022 could be due to more responding agencies. Not only that, the press release from Normal shared that some data in FBI provided zip drive doesn't actually match the data displayed on websites. Quote, at a time when voters and their elected officials nationwide are reevaluating state and federal marijuana policies, it is inconceivable that government agencies are unable to produce more explicit data on the estimated costs and scope of marijuana prohibition in America, Armentano commented. So the drug arrests have shrunk since their peak in 2007. That year, police arrested over 870,000 people for drug related crimes, 48% of which were marijuana violations. In the time that has passed, all but 8 states have passed some measure of cannabis legalization. Still, FBI cannabis arrest data implies the law hasn't followed the trend. And while the tides are clearly shifting, with cannabis making up 1/3 of drug arrests, it's clear not all law enforcement is down with the plant. Rochelle Gordon reporting from Green State. I'm curious, are these numbers legit, or is there just a big mess going on the back end? What do you guys think?
Oh man, I mean these numbers don't surprise me. I know plenty of people that are still going to jail for cannabis all the time. I mean, we cover different bust stories all the time on the show. Now, granted, those are for much larger quantities than personal possession, but I think as far as personal possession is going, you're only getting that in prohibitionist states as opposed to adult use friendly states.
Yeah, I think these numbers are kind of conservative.
Do you really?
Probably more.
You think it's more? Like how much
I
more?
think it's I think it's a lot more.
You think
Yeah.
it's a lot more too?
I think it's a
Interesting.
lot more. I think that if the true numbers was put out there, then it would remove the illusion of it being legalized and free. And then there would be more of an uproar of people asking, like, what the hell is going on? Because that's crazy, because over here, this is just so lax. I could see that if it's illegal or whatever the case may be, or to some degree, but it should be still decriminalized to the point where no one is being incarcerated unless they have hundreds of pounds that they're moving for felonious reasons. Even if they have 100 pounds and they legitimately have a business and they're servicing people out of their business and they have a legitimate business and it's in a licensed state where they can do it, my personal opinion is they should be able to travel wherever they can buy it from and get it from, just like they will be able to travel anywhere. You can go and get well, you would have to pay a tax or whatever the case. I think only New York you can't bring in cigarettes from other states, but other states you can bring in cigarettes from other states. Like Tennessee, you can get cigarettes from Arkansas. You know what I mean? Like no one is going to care, or no one's going to put a big stink on it. And or in some way, shape, or form, they should allow people who do sell marijuana to be able to move around like that. But they're not going to be able to let that happen. There's too much money in weed arrests, and it allows the law enforcement agencies to violate your Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights by detaining you and then forcing you to say something about the consumption of marijuana that you did have once they say that they can smell it in your car. Because even in states where it's legalized, they still have the ability to pull you out your car and check you and give you a sobriety test.
That's not all states. There is a number of states that have stopped the availability of using the smell of cannabis to be able to search one's car. So that is in selective states.
And what I'm saying is that they still do it anyway. They don't care. There are a lot of people too who don't even realize they have constitutional rights. Go online, go look at Lackluster, go look at Audit in the Audit. You're going to see a whole bunch of police activity where individuals who, unbeknownst to them, do not have any idea of what their rights are, what their God-given rights are, what the rights under the Constitution are. They don't know. They don't have a clue.
So Rochelle, when I covered this story like last year when this report came out last year, and I thought like very interestingly enough, California opted out of reporting. So like
That
a
is
lot,
very interesting.
yeah. And so that's why I said I think these numbers are grossly on the conservative side because you have California and I believe like New York actually opted out of participating in this survey, which is weird that they're allowed to opt out of reporting these numbers. So I do think that there's a lot more arrests, there's a lot more action on the enforcement side that we're seeing here, and it'd be interesting to have a full audit, but we're just not seeing that on the FBI data. It's optional for states to even submit their numbers.
Yeah, if the states
So
are
it's not California and New York. Those are some big numbers we're missing for sure.
if the states
Yeah.
aren't submitting their numbers, it's going to be hard because there's not a lot of people that are arrested by the FBI for just weed. That's not really
Right, and
reality.
then right, and Montego, you can back me up on this one. What a lot of people were looking at the shiny object of Mayor Eric Adams. Yeah, Mayor Eric
Yep.
Adams when he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna allow people to smoke weed in the streets and everything." The same day, he opened up broken windows policies, which allowed for once again stop and frisk. So people were like, "Oh yeah, let's look at the positive thing." Like no, like stop and frisk is open
It's,
for business once again.
and it's
Yeah,
unconstitutional, and still people like that's a lawsuit in itself. There are people who aren't allowed to film inside of the precincts in New York City, and that's your
right.
constitutional right to be able to film your government while they're working in full capacity. You have the legitimate and legal First Amendment right to record, and you can't even like there are people right now who are suing New York City and New York State because they were arrested for trying to go inside of a precinct in order to record and ask questions. The point of these people they create an image for us to become romanticized with. Eric Adams said everyone's going to be able to smoke weed, everyone's going to be able to smoke weed, and now the whole streets are filled with zombie like individuals. You know that like you have tons of illegals everywhere. Like no, it's not what he said it was going to be, and it's kind of like a wild wild west because people who are legitimately trying to operate good businesses now also are dealing with being robbed left and right because in New York also they hinder you on your Second Amendment right.
Mm.
So even
Yeah, and it
having a
was it was
business, nigga, even having a business, you're liable. You seen the old man real quick? Did you see the
yeah.
old man who was in a bodega in New York who ended up shooting a man? I think he stabbed a man to death because the man was beating on him or something like that, and they end up charging the old man that was being beat. And uproar made the DA release him from jail because he ended up I think shooting the guy. I think he ended up shooting the guy, but the uproar from New York City, that's the only reason why the man was let loose free is because people of New York City
Mm-hmm.
started to cry out and then all over the country because they was gonna lock him up
Yep.
for self-defense.
I did see that.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Super crazy. But yeah, that just goes along to it. I mean, I think a lot of these numbers too,
I don't trust these numbers at all.
there's a lot of crime that isn't getting prosecuted in a lot of these cities too, and so that I think would also lead to this lower numbers also. But nonetheless, we got to go to a commercial, and we're going to be right back. The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. I know we appreciate it. YouTube appreciates it, and you will appreciate it too once you do it. Also, too, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And make sure you get your tickets for West Hollywood Halloween 2023. You can look on our social media pages for links on how you can get your tickets, and we're going to be there doing a few things. And all the articles that we cover today you can find on our website at www.highat9news.com if you want to take a little glance.
How's it going, guys? Saman Razani coming to you from Green Street here with Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast available on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify? Tune in now and check it out.
Oh, I know.
You with us, Rico?
Let's do it.
Oh, all right.
Coming to us live out of the great purple state of Texas, our next correspondent's a dope dad that decided he'd be hitting the high road instead of partaking in local Delta 8 dab sessions. Y'all know who it is, Stone Slade.
You see, I never know if I'm waiting for an applause or
Oh,
not. So
Adam, we got an applause, Adam. Sorry, Adam. Adam was in the middle of something. Sorry. There we go.
Thank you, Rico. All right. Tell me you don't believe in the medicinal value of cannabis without telling me you don't believe in the medicinal value of cannabis. Jason Beck reported back in August that New Jersey was going to allow off-duty police officers to consume cannabis. Well, in a not so surprising move, Jersey City, New Jersey's second largest city, has challenged the statewide policy allowing police officers to do just that while off duty. Their justification for this challenge hinges on a rather glaring legal inconsistency. Although the state law permits the consumption of cannabis by adults, federal law prohibits anyone who consumes a controlled substance from possessing a firearm. This discrepancy has led to city officials to question whether they can employ officers who legally consume cannabis in the state but are federally barred from carrying firearms. Jersey City officials are turning to the U.S. District Court of the District of New Jersey, urging the court to recognize that the federal law supersedes New Jersey's cannabis laws. In a clear context, they want to determine if the directives of State Attorney General Matt Platkin are indeed valid. Platkin has previously advised law enforcement leaders that no adverse action should be taken against officers consuming cannabis off duty unless there's evidence of them working under the influence. Now, this isn't just a matter of abstract legal debate. There's tangible implications for officers' careers. In August, the State Civil Service Commission directed New Jersey City, to rehire 2 of the 5 officers that they had fired for testing positive for THC. Now, though alternative public safety jobs were offered that didn't involve fire, officers declined, as stated by James Shea, Jersey City's public safety director. In highlighting the gravity of this matter, Shea, accompanied by Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop, mentioned that the state has persistently sidestepped addressing the core of this dilemma. They emphasized that the Civil Service Commission and judges have all recognized the conflict, but refused to provide much-needed guidance on how local governments can comply with the clashing laws. Interestingly, despite the wave of cannabis legalization sweeping across the U.S., the federal stance remains unyielding. The ATF has consistently highlighted that anyone using cannabis, still a Schedule I narcotic according to the DEA, is ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition. In recent social media posts, Mayor Fulop cites the federal law under which Hunter Biden faces indictment concerning firearm possession while being an active cocaine user. Now, Fulop further elaborated on the legal tangle, saying legalization in New Jersey. However, New Jersey's CREMA law directly conflicts with the federal law, exposing Jersey City to potential massive financial liabilities, compromising public safety, and endangering police officers' careers statewide. The suit names the state, Attorney General Platkin, the New Jersey Civil Service Commission, and the Jersey City police officers who were dismissed after testing positive for cannabis. Now, as expected, all the offices declined to comment. The clear contradictions in federal policy towards cannabis and firearm ownership underscore the pressing need for change. It's time that both the ATF and DEA recognize the therapeutic benefits of cannabis and delist it from any schedule. Cannabis, inherently medicinal in nature, should be regarded as a nutraceutical. The idea that anyone should be denied the right to bear arms based on cannabis consumption is patently absurd. Conversely, the arguments around alcohol's influence in firearm ownership might be more worthy of scrutiny. I'm Stone Slade reporting for the High at Night News.
Stone, I love this story, and I love how they use the example of Hunter Biden as that was amazing that they did this in New Jersey and used him as the basis to say this is why this should be legal.
I left that in there for you, Jason Beck. I just wanted you to know that.
I so appreciate that, Stone. You totally gaslighted my day.
This story is not going away, man. You think this was going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court, Jason?
I think that's the only place that it's going to ultimately have to go. I mean,
this is going to be this is not going away at all. I think it's like very, very interesting because Jersey City makes its police officers purchase their own firearms. And that's where the issue is here. Like Hunter Biden's taken into account here in his whole ordeal, and they're going to have to address this whole gun issue in the highest court. I'm very, very, very interested to see when that happens.
Yeah, and I want to say out there too to all of the 2A supporters out there, if you are not for having cannabis people have the freedom and right to own and purchase guns, then you, my friend, are a hypocrite, and you need to take a look at yourself in the mirror.
Take a strong look at yourself in the mirror.
And you know what? Don't even take a look in the mirror. Go to the kitchen table, or better yet, the kitchen counter. Go to the edge, stand on it, then jump off of it. And if you're unsuccessful the first time, do it repeatedly, over and over and over again, until you successfully reach the ideal. Let me stop before they say it. Before they say we go crazy.
Yes.
Let me ask you this.
Jump off the kitchen counter.
It's a short
fall. Just do it till it hurts enough that you stop.
Yeah.
And you can't get up.
Just do it till you hurt your trigger finger.
That's it.
Yeah.
Seriously,
you deserve to have both trigger fingers broken.
Do you think these guys are closet prohibitionists? I mean, is the Fed saying anything about this? Like, I know it's federal law, but we're breaking federal law in all the states where it's legal anyway. Is the feds even making any stink about this, or is this guy proactively kind of being a butthole?
I think this guy is being a total prohibitionist in regards to this, and I think one of the reasons that you'll have a lot of law enforcement groups that would fight something like this is because of the fact of how easy it is for them to bust cannabis people, because cannabis people for the most part are majority nonviolent and whatnot. And then if you're allowing for the cannabis people to have guns, then now that's going to raise their risk threshold when they make these stops. And that's the majority of the stops that they want to make because they're easy bust to put on paper. You know what I mean? And like less threatening. But now from their view it'll make those busts more threatening. Does that make sense, Stone?
It does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the bus will turn into bust downs.
So, well, I mean, the bust downs already happen once you get that bag. You know what I'm saying, Rico?
I'm picking what you're putting down.
All right.
Yeah, no, I think it just points out the hypocrisy of a lot of these lawmakers, and like you said, Jason, call them out. They should be looking themselves in the mirror, call them out. But
yeah, don't say you're 2A strong, and then you're not for cannabis people being able to have the rights to own guns just like any other American.
Yeah, the other side of the argument is like people just don't want to be hardliners on stuff, and they want to allow wiggle room for compromise on stuff like this. But I don't know, man. I can't call it.
I don't know, but do we have one more commercial, Adam?